back to the GM. Up next, we're going to deal with some Adam Schefter and Mad Dog Russo commentary concerning Lamar Jackson and his public trade request. So let's get underway. I'm going to blast him along the way because I see the narrative that they're already trying to lay down in front of Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson has requested a trade, but the truth of the matter is when the Ravens placed the non-exclusive franchise tender on him, he had permission to go seek a trade.
You see how they got right to it. Lamar Jackson goes public with a trade request, but he's always had a chance to go get a trade. That's not what the non-exclusive franchise tag is for. The non-exclusive franchise tag is to make a player not accessible to sign unless they give up some compensation. That's not a trade. That's a player signing an offer sheet and the current team matching that offer sheet. Yes, could a trade be worked out? Absolutely. But he was not going out to seek a trade request. So Adam Schefter, please stop trying to put that narrative out up front.
All anyone has to do is sign him to an offer sheet, and then they would have the ability to land him if the Ravens were unwilling to match or they worked out a trade with Baltimore. So what this really is this is Lamar making a public stand about his desire to leave Baltimore.
Okay, so first off, here's what's interesting about that commentary. Well, he's always had a opportunity to go seek a trade. All the team had to do was sign to an offer sheet, and then the team could match or a trade could be worked out. Here's what's interesting. ESPN, the same outlet, had continual reporting that teams were unwilling to pursue Lamar because they did not want to do the work for the Baltimore Ravens. Why? Because Baltimore, to ESPN, according to ESPN's reporting, had already put out there that they would be willing to match whatever the offer was. Okay, so please just stop with that narrative that this whole trade thing was always a possibility.
This is another bridge, another obstacle between him and the organization. This is him publicly sharing his unhappiness. This is him basically saying, I want out of Baltimore. This changes the dynamics of the relationship, but really, by giving him the non-exclusive franchise tender, he had permission to go seek a trade. That's been in the works.
See how that's the third time he said that? That's the third time he said that. You know why? Because when Lamar Jackson comes out and says, you know what, I asked for a trade on March the 2nd, what that would do, it would discredit any reporting that would have come out of any one of these experts and pundits' mouths about the Lamar Jackson contract situation. You see, once they hear now, oh, he requested a trade on March 2nd, they have to continue to spin a narrative that it could have always been done. They have to point us in another direction. Why? Because this is the player taking control of the narrative and taking it out of the hands and out of the mouths of these reporters.
And to the best of our knowledge, there has not been a lot of activity. There has not been a lot of interest. And that could be in part because people were under the impression, right or wrong, that he wanted close to or a fully guaranteed contract.
Hold it. That also, the close to or fully guaranteed deal, that's another narrative that ESPN continued to put out there. ESPN is the corporate in that reporting about the fully guaranteed deal. It's something they've said over and over and over. So let's stop acting like we're now speculating that's what it was about. But before, it was 100% he wanted a fully guaranteed deal. Now ESPN, you got to pick a side. You got to pick a side and stop this straddling the fence.
Correct. That Baltimore might match the offer. Maybe this would spark some conversations and get teams to engage Baltimore. But the truth of the matter is, he had the ability to be traded here all along. It's just that he aired it out publicly.
That's the fourth time he's made it a point to say that he's been able to be traded all along. That's the fourth time. The fourth time in less than 2 minutes. Do you guys see what's happening here? They're making sure that they point out that there was no interest. They're making sure that they point out that nobody was contacting Lamar Jackson or the Baltimore Ravens about a trade. You know why they weren't contacting them? Because the message was clear that Baltimore was going to match any offer that came along. The difference now is that Lamar Jackson has said, I want out. You see, everything else was based on that non-exclusive franchise tag and a team getting two first and Baltimore Ravens, excuse me, getting two first round picks. Now the table is flipped. Now they got to spin a new narrative.
Today, saying that he told Baltimore on March 2nd that he wanted a trade, but this has always been out there as a realistic possibility, but now it's more public and it's personal.
That's the good point there, Adam. That's the key word there, personal. Is this bridge now been severed? I mean, could you see a scenario? September 10th in week one's a long way. Could you see a scenario where this relationship could be repaired? I mean, obviously, if the Ravens give him $200 million, he's going to come back and play. But does this represent the last line here? Or do you still think there could be a happy marriage between the two parties?
Well, Meadow, they offered him $200 million last year. They offered him $250, with 175 guaranteed for injury. And he wanted a fully guaranteed contract. And so I don't know that money changes it with Baltimore, because it has become personal between the two sides. And it certainly sounds like the relationship between the two of them has deteriorated. And there are issues. Now, Baltimore, the Ravens, I think they've taken public stances and have been fully supportive of him publicly and backed him. But when you talk to people behind the scenes, it feels like the relationship between Lamar Jackson and the Ravens has deteriorated for a while.
Okay, we're going to pause right there. We're going to close with some last commentary. I have a second part of this video I want to show you guys. We'll have some more commentary on. So to close up, the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson relationship has been deteriorating for the better part of 2 years. Because it's been the better part of 2 years when they've been negotiating a contract, and over again, they've got up from the table and hadn't got a deal done. Okay, Lamar Jackson put his body on the line and went out and played when a lot of people, including some of the ESPN commentators, told him, "Hey, you need to sit out." But Lamar, trying to be a team guy, goes out, bets on himself, and unfortunately got injured 2 years straight. So yeah, that would certainly damage a relationship. What would also damage a relationship is that the Baltimore Ravens have continually not given him adequate help at the wide receiver position, which is the position that helps the quarterback the most right after the offensive line. Okay, and the offensive line hadn't been that good either. And so the fact of the matter is, they're now trying to spin a new narrative that he could have sought a trade this whole time, and that nobody has come out and made a trade for him. All these kind of things. The real issue is this: ESPN's reporting for the last 26 days has now been blown out of the water, because Lamar Jackson is saying, you know what? All that you guys have been reporting has been a fallacy. Everything coming out of the Baltimore Ravens' mouth has been a fallacy, because all along I've requested a trade, shortly after the franchise tag was placed on me. Matter of fact, before the franchise tag was placed on me, now that I think about it, because the franchise tag had to be applied on March 7th, he asked for a trade on March 2nd. So Lamar was taking his future in his hands the whole time. He just was man enough to stay quiet about it while all the slander went on and on and on. Listen, this is my take. Let me know what you want me to know in the comment section. I appreciate you guys. I'm out.